bigcal and welcome to my world. Today is the third of my 4-part A to Z of video games video series, where I go through each letter of the alphabet and show off my favourite game beginning with that letter. So the first part was A through F, the second part G through M, so now let's get to the third part, N, all the way through to T. After Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins on the original Game Boy way back in 1992, anytime we got a new mainline Mario release, it was always a 3D game. That's not bad because the 3D games are fantastic, some of my favourites in the series. However, some of us also wanted to go back to that more simplistic 2D style. Finally, in 2006 on the Nintendo DS, we got just that with new Super Mario Bros. While the new Super Mario Bros. Series has become quite a bit stale now, back in 2006 this was a very fresh release. The classic 2D platforming formula we've come to expect from a Mario game, with a new visual style, new power-ups and new mechanics to boot. And as if the classic 2D Mario gameplay isn't enough, the game also features a number of mini-games, some good, some bad, and some I spent far too much time playing on. To this day it remains my favourite in the new Super Mario Bros. Series, and one that I still go back to every now and then and play a few levels of. It might not be up there with the original Mario Bros. Or Super Mario World, but it is one of the better 2D Mario games that we've had since, well, this one. I'll admit, the striking HD 2D visual style of this game is what originally drew me to it. We have these amazing HD looking 2D sprites, hence the HD 2D visual style that it's called, wandering about these amazing 3D locations that look like a real life model village set. It's just incredible. And then I discovered that the game has 8 different protagonists, all with their own unique story that you can do in any order and play along however you want. While I wish there was some actual connectivity between the stories and characters beyond a few conversations here and there, I still very much enjoyed taking each character on their own journey and discovering what would happen to them. The battle system is your typical turn-based system, however enemies all have different types of shields that need to be broken down in order to deal massive damage, and these shields all have different weaknesses. Your party members have the usual attacks and abilities you would expect, as well as a boost system that allows you to deal multiple attacks or stronger magic attacks. The balance of when to use them and when to keep building the boost, as well as the different shields enemies have, keep the battling from becoming a boring button masher where you just click attack each turn. Oh, and I cannot talk about the game without mentioning the music. The soundtrack is immense and perfectly fits every location and situation. I don't think I could ever tire of it. While this game did start off as a Switch exclusive, it is also available on PC now, making it more widely available, and that's great because this is a tremendous JRPG that should be enjoyed by as many people as possible. Back in 2001, it was my 12th birthday in April, shortly after the release of this particular game. I went to my local game store with my birthday money, picked up a Game Boy Color and this game, Pokemon Silver. It was the first Pokemon game I'd ever owned and my first venture into this fantastic series. While the remake on DS is the definitive way to play with visual, audio and gameplay improvements, the original will always be special to me. I love replaying this game and I play some form of Silver at least once a year. Totodile is my preferred starter as it evolves into Feraligatr, my all-time favourite Pokemon. Battling against the reformed Team Rocket, taking down your rival, capturing the legendary Pokemon and becoming the Pokemon champion is never a dull experience, and being able to fight Red from the first game is a great little bonus at the end as well. And not only that, once you do become the Pokemon champion, you unlock the entire first game location. Yes, you get to visit Kanto, go through all of their gyms, and become the true Pokemon Master. That was so fantastic back in the day, especially for someone like me who didn't play the originals way back then. So yeah, Pokemon Silver, well, like I said, the DS version here is the more definitive way to play. It's this version that I always think of because it's the one that I always played as a kid. I spent over 100 hours back on this when I was younger, which is something I never did for a video game back then. That was very, very, very rare. Yeah, so Pokemon Silver, my all-time favourite. Play it however you can. There are multiple ways now to play it. You've got the original cartridge if you can, the DS version, and we even got a 3DS digital release with a nice little reproduction box here with the code inside, which, yeah, of course I had to buy. Yeah, okay, I was very limited with the letter Q. Not many games in my collection beginning with it. However, I ended up going with Quackshot because I love 2D platformers, and when it comes to 16-bit Disney 2D platformers, usually couldn't go wrong. Quackshot is no exception to this. As Donald Duck, you navigate through a basic platforming level based on real-world locations, using a plunger to freeze enemies for a few seconds in order to get past them, and even use it to create platforms for yourself to climb up high areas. However, you'll quickly come to a point where you can't progress, forcing you to call in your plane and take you elsewhere in order to find an item to help you continue. It's kind of like a Metroid game in that sense, but still very much a 2D platformer at its core. Well worth picking up for your Sega Mega Drive or Genesis collection, especially if you can do what I did and get the double pack with Castle of Illusion. Both games, tremendous, but of course Quackshot is the one that I'm talking about right now. One of my favourite cartoons as a kid was Rugrats, so when a video game was announced based on the series, I had to pick it up. So for my birthday in 1999, I got this game, and you know what? I've been playing it ever since. A 3D platformer, you take control of Tommy, Chucky, Angelica, Phil, Lil, and even Spike the dog, as you play through levels based on actual episodes of the show. The Pickles house is the hub world with plenty of places to explore in between levels. While the controls are a little clunky, I feel it adds to the game, making you feel more like a baby struggling to walk. Graphically, it isn't amazing or anything, but everything does look like what it's supposed to be and is instantly recognisable as Rugrats. The music and voice acting are spot on, adding a layer of atmosphere to every level. The only thing really wrong with the game is the length, as I can complete it in just a couple of hours. But then again, every game does not need to be a 70-hour RPG. I have already done a video review of this game, link down below in the description, so check that out if you want to see more on it. But yeah, I really love this game. It's a great 3D platformer, mostly if you're a fan of the Rugrats. If you didn't grow up with the Rugrats or didn't like them, you won't get as much enjoyment out of it, I will admit, but yeah, it's still a very solid game either way. S was an incredibly difficult letter to pick from because, as well as all the other great games out there, it does include all of the Super Mario games. But in the end, I had to go with Super Mario World. I have numerous times in the past referred to it as the greatest game of all time. And you know what? I still fully believe that. Classic 2D Mario platforming, along with the new addition of Yoshi and a cape, both of which are quite literally game changers. Yoshi is rideable, allowing you to swallow most enemies and even spit some out either as a shell or a fireball. Different coloured Yoshis can be obtained with their own abilities, such as being able to shoot fireballs out all of the time, or fly. The cape is also used for flying, which requires a run-up similar to the Super Leaf in Super Mario Bros. 3, only this time if you use your D-pad presses right, you can fly as much as you want. This allows you access to new areas and even bypass large chunks of levels if you wish. But for me, I never wanted to skip past levels as they are all so much fun to play through. The world map from Super Mario Bros. 3 is back as well, only much improved this time around and fully joined together like a real world. Some levels have hidden exits that open up new routes to secret levels, including the mysterious Star Road and the very challenging Special Zone. The visuals are of course fantastic, making the leap from 8-bit to 16-bit, and the sound came right along with it too. I can't find anything about this game that I don't enjoy, which is why I do consider it the single greatest game of all time. Tremendous. Everyone should own this in at least some form. It's been available for almost every Nintendo system, be it Virtual Console, or a remake, or a remaster, or a port, or whatever it is. Play this game. This was the first ever PlayStation game I ever played. Back in Christmas of 1997 I got my PlayStation 1. It came bundled with 3 games. This was one of them, and it was the first one that I stuck in. And I've been playing it ever since 1997. That's a long time. It is also technically the oldest game I own. Now, I know in the previous video, for example, like Super Mario World, that came out years before this, but that's not my original copy. This is the oldest game I still own that was mine back in the day. And yeah, that's kind of special, I think. I've never let go of this game, never had any interest in selling it, because it's fantastic. A vehicular combat game featuring a number of unique cars with their own stats, special abilities and drivers, all of whom have their own personalities and reasons for entering the Twisted Metal competition. The driver who wins gets any wish they wanted granted from Calypso, a godlike being who runs the Twisted Metal tournament. I've spent 23 years playing this game, driving around, destroying enemy vehicles, exploring the locations and just having a blast. Each level is based on a real-world location, from Paris to Moscow and even Antarctica. They all have some form of level mechanic too, be it sinking ice caps in Antarctica, rooftops that will make you fall off to your doom, a fully destructible Eiffel Tower, or lava. Your chosen vehicle of destruction has its own special weapon that automatically recharges throughout the game, while you need to pick up other weapons as you go, which range from homing missiles, napalm and bombs. When you finally win the competition, you get to see your wish granted, which doesn't always turn out well. With each character having their own ending, replay value is high, and of course there is multiplayer as well, making it even more fun. The absolute peak of the series as far as I'm concerned, which kind of makes sense because Single Track, the developers of the first 2 games, stopped developing them. They went through many changes, we got lots of different style of games. Sadly, none of them ever really lived up to Twisted Metal 2 World Tour in my opinion. Okay, that's it for this part of the video. Don't forget to check out the previous 2 parts if you haven't seen them already, and stay tuned for next week when I will go through the final part, including a bonus edition where I go through not just the alphabet but also my favourite game beginning with a number or a symbol. It's got to be a number. How many games start with a symbol? Really? Anyway, I'm bigcal, thanks for watching, and I will see you again next time.